6th grade, and welcome to our final lesson this week involving algebraic expressions. Go ahead and please take out your math notebooks and turn to a clean sheet, naming today's date. Our objective today is the same as before. I can write expressions from verbal statements. Before, we were talking more on a simplistic level with very simple rudimentary expressions. 6 plus x, 9 minus 4, 9 minus x, x minus p, p times 4, 4 divided by p, and so on. Now, however, I want you to go ahead and read and copy down the expression that I have on my board here. The product of 2 and the sum of n and 3. Now that is a little more complicated. I'm going to give you a second here to pause the video here to try and answer this problem on your own in translating this algebraic expression. Okay, let's go ahead and solve it, shall we? So again, as I talked about in my previous lesson, order matters when looking at how you sequence or how you write out an algebraic expression. The first word that comes to mind when I see here is product. Product means what? That's right, means multiplication. The product of 2 and the sum. So, right off the bat, 2 is going to be multiplied by something. Now, the sum of n and 3 means that n plus 3 has to be somewhere. Why? Because sum means addition. So, n plus 3. Now, you're probably wondering, wait a minute, Mr. Campbell, you didn't explain why you put those parentheses in this equation. And the answer is quite simple. Because of the word sum. Sum means that we're going to add two numbers together to get a final answer for this expression here of n plus 3, n and 3. Because they're looking for the sum of this, I put parentheses around n plus 3. The 2 then multiplies to whatever answer we get with n plus 3. So my algebraic expression is 2 times parentheses n plus 3. Let's look at another example, shall we? Let's say I have the following. Now we're going the opposite. I have a problem, and I want you to translate it for me. So go ahead and pause the video now and try to translate this algebraic expression. Okay, let's go ahead and work on this problem now. Now, again, order matters. And whenever we look at a fraction, which is, again, numerator and denominator, we always work with the denominator first. So, looking at our top here, 3 plus n. What does that mean? That's correct. So, again, we're looking for the sum because of that parenthesis. So the way we're going to start this is the sum of 3 and n. All right? We're halfway done. Now looking at my denominator, what does this sign mean, aside from being a fraction? That's correct. It means it is a 2. And what that also means, aside from being a fraction, is it means division. So, the sum of 3 and n divided by 2. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of our problem. So again, the sum of 3 and n divided by 2. Let's look at one more, shall we? Let's say, let's work in reverse. So again, here's our problem. The quotient of 3 and the sum of n and 2. I'll go ahead and give you a minute to pause the video. Go ahead and solve this on your own. Okay. Again, order matters here. So the first step is looking at the top, the quotient. Quotient means what? Division, right. So we're going to divide 3 divided by what? That's correct. The sum. So again, we need to have that parentheses there. Sum means what two numbers are we going to add together? That's correct. N plus 2. Very good. Let's go ahead and begin your exit slip, shall we? And once again, your homework will be posted on Google Classroom. Go ahead and translate the following for me, please. D squared increased by twice C. And the quotient of the sum of x and 5 and 3. All right, I'll give you guys a minute to pause the video here to answer the following questions. Okay, let's go ahead and solve them, shall we? Again, order matters. Now there's one thing that I forgot to mention in this lesson. D squared. What do you think D squared is going to mean? That's correct. D to the second power. So D squared is increased by twice C. What does increased mean? Increased means addition, which means plus. That is correct. So D squared increased by twice C. Now, unlike before, squared means we're going to have that little power on top. Twice just means 2. So what we're going to have is 2C. So my first is D squared plus 2C. Looking at our next problem, the quotient of the sum of x and 5 and 3. Well, that's kind of easy. The quotient, so we have nothing in our numerator, but our denominator is totally different than that. Because the sum, once again, means we're going to have our parentheses. The sum of x and 5 and 3 just means we're going to have x plus 5 plus 3, which if we wanted to simplify it, would mean 1 over, because 5 and 3 we can add together, and we would get 8. Once again, your homework is posted on Google Classroom tonight for your assignment. Join me next week when we delve more into looking at algebraic expressions. Stay tuned.